So I'm thrilled to be here today with Paul Bopp from the Bopp Financial Group, where he helps families and businesses navigate the complexities of health, life, and retirement planning. So Paul, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about, I guess, your agency, your company, and what you're able to do for families.
Okay. Bopp Financial Group, we are a health and life insurance broker. We are primarily a health insurance broker,
Okay.
and everything else is secondary. We work with self-employed, small business owners. My ideal client is no more than 25 employees.
Okay.
That's the real spot. And we're trying to find solutions for their problems with the health business. Nobody likes health.
Sure. It's interesting because, like, being in the real estate business, I deal with a lot of people that come here from out of state. And I think the thing they don't really focus on all the time is their insurance needs or some of these other things that change when you move from state to state.
Absolutely.
So what's different about Arizona versus maybe other states as it relates to insurance that you think would be helpful for somebody to at least have an understanding of, and then of course you can get into more details with them.
Okay. The biggest thing is Arizona has more products compared to some other states. The laws are good, but they're more flexible, where some states have very restricted laws and companies won't go there. Product won't be offered there. So that's a real big deal. The subsidies are different. So there's a little more free will here with the subsidies in the sense of, yeah, and I say that loosely. Again, some states have better subsidies, but they're restricted.
Sure.
So your choices are restricted.
Well, if you have more subsidies, I guess you have less product available.
Absolutely.
Because of those subsidies, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So when somebody comes here, they need to adjust to that, where some states, the state's throwing in a subsidy on top of the federal subsidy.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that. That's interesting. So what would somebody, what's the first thing you think that they should look to, like when they move here, and like how much time do they have before they kind of set up their insurance? Because I know from state to state, it's really different. You're like out of network, right?
Absolutely.
So what does that look like for somebody?
So the first thing you want to do is you actually have to be a resident. So you need to, form your actual residency here.
Okay.
Not have your residency half here and half somewhere else, and your primary is in that state, because that doesn't work.
Got it.
The great thing about when it happens is you create an open enrollment, a special election. Okay.
Is that because it's a life-changing event?
That's a life-changing event. They're moving. So they're able to do that. Okay. The next thing is find a broker that's actually knowledgeable about the industry here. I'm not knowledgeable in other states. I am licensed in 7 and I have access to all 48.
Okay.
But my specialty is Arizona. So find somebody who actually knows the landscape and can guide them through what's going on. And the biggest thing is doctors. Your doctors, you're not going to have the same doctors, and the same networks are not going to work that you had in a certain state. Networks are different here.
Yeah, oh, that makes sense. It's funny, like my wife and I had moved here full time like 4 years ago. And we ultimately had to go into the Affordable Care Act plans.
Absolutely, a lot of people do.
Which, had the subsidies at that time because it was just post-COVID. But even there, I did notice there were a lot of options in terms of plans, probably more than I got it through my employer, right? Because employer.
Oh, yes. You only get like 2 or 3 choices.
Exactly. So, I think I had 2 back in New York from an employer when I was a W-2. And then, coming here and being a 1099, independent contractor, I had to go to the marketplace. And, the deductibles were high. Fortunately, I'm healthy, So we kind of chose the plan based on our specific needs. But it was actually interesting to see the number of options. Now, I guess you help people kind of go through that, and you have a process with working with them.
The other thing I didn't point out about this state is, besides just having the ACA, we have options here for fully underwritten products, which other states don't have. So they're limited to the marketplace.
Okay.
Here, you're not limited to the marketplace. You have other products that are available under fully underwritten.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really
so
great.
what would that look like? What kind of products? I'm not familiar with that.
Defined benefit packages. Health savings account. Health share accounts.
Okay.
Okay. Those are some. Those are just a few that you can go with. That offer short-term medical. Some states don't even allow short-term medical.
Interesting.
Yeah, Arizona does. Open PPO networks, you don't actually get penalized for going out of network with some of these products.
Oh.
So yeah, there's some pretty good options here.
Yeah.
It's different when you come from other states. You're restricted to what the marketplace has. They don't have those free will.
Sure. So I guess it's always going to be in somebody's best interest to reach out to somebody like you, right?
Correct.
Who knows the state, you're a professional, and you have access to not just a singular type plan, but you can kind of help them with all these different options. Or?
We found out, we always said we had a lot of products. We actually have access to over 80 products, 80 carriers to be exact.
Wow.
Yeah, we can reach all seven I'm licensed in, and 48 states because of our partnerships with other companies.
That's amazing. That's cool.
It helps. You're not locked in. You get to make choices.
Yeah.
And it should be your choice.
I agree, but it's not always my choice. Right.
Well, yeah, but and the great thing about the Affordable Care Act is they have to take everybody,
Right.
And
There's
that's
no
the beauty of it.
conditions.
And a lot of the comprehensive plans are built off of that, with a few other products on top of it. Because the biggest problem, people have two problems out there. One, the massive out-of-pockets. You and I both know that. But the other portion is the premiums. People take low premiums, take huge out-of-pockets. But we help them guide them so that they don't go financially broke either way.
Right.
Because you can't be so low in premium and so broke on out-of-pockets.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what everyone's personal situation is financially, what they can
Absolutely.
withstand. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you and I have different means and needs.
Yeah. So then I imagine, when you first talk to somebody in that consultation, you're probably assessing what their financial,
We're assessing everything because we want to be a real partner. See, I don't want to sell somebody health insurance. That's not my goal.
Right.
My goal is to understand you're a business, you're a model, who you are. What are your goals? It's not about what's important to me. It's really about what's important to that business owner or that self-employed individual or an individual. Where are they at? Right. And then my answer is to find the solutions to that problem. It don't matter how good the product is. It doesn't matter the price if it's not good for them.
Yeah, sure. Well, again, everybody's needs are different. Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome. So I have one more question for you.
Go ahead.
So I understand you live in Chandler, Arizona?
I absolutely do. 14 years.
14 years. So what was it about Chandler? Because, it's hard for me as a realtor to tell somebody where they should live or what a community is like because we have fair housing laws and I respect them entirely.
Absolutely.
But sometimes, my clients, they want to know this information. I'm like, I really can't share certain information with you. So what's been your experience, I guess, living in Chandler, and why did you choose Chandler?
So Chandler's funny because I actually wound up there by accident.
Okay.
Due to family situations. But I love it. In fact, we talked about moving recently and we're like, yeah, we've waited 14 years for everything to come to where it is. I'm 12 minutes from the I-10. I'm 12 minutes from the 202. I have all the shopping I want to do. I have 3 major supermarkets within 5 minutes of my house. And the schools are really good. My daughter graduated from Chandler High School with no complaints. She's in performing arts and she's done very well. The community is still a community. There's still a full downtown. That you can eat, you can have fun, you can experience the arts. So Chandler fits me well. It fits my wife well.
That's awesome. It's interesting. Chandler and Gilbert, like the East Valley, it's a really popular destination. I think in part because Scottsdale's kind of like really expensive now.
Yes.
Things have changed, of course, across the valley with regard to values and prices. But I find Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa, like those areas really attract a lot of people because their budget dictates many times where they're going to live, but then it's quality of life, right?
You do. I mean, I literally, I talk about it. I'm 15 minutes from downtown Gilbert.
Right.
I mean, I'm not far from anywhere, and you can still have the rodeo. You can go 15 minutes the other direction and go race cars. I mean, there's so many things you can do there. For me, it's just lifestyle.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it.
It's been fun.
All right.